Okay, so now the fun part, we're going to talk about applying eyeshadow and different techniques, but I'm going to start by removing my current eye makeup because I didn't follow my own advice. Remember how I talked about making sure to clean your brushes between colors? Well, I neglected to do that this morning, and so when I went to do my all over blending at the very end, the look I was trying in my first video, it just kind of muddied it all and mushed it together. Don't like how it turned out. So I'm going to use our oil-free eye makeup remover, and this is the #1 best-selling eye makeup remover in the world across all brands. So it's pretty amazing stuff. If you can look at and see the two layers, one of those layers is for waterproof makeup and the other is for regular makeup. And when you shake it up, it just kind of mixes together and emulsifies all the ingredients. It's very gentle and very effective. I would recommend that you test just a small amount first to make sure, because some people still are sensitive to eye makeup removers. This one I don't have an issue with, even though I do with others. So there's a little plug for our eye makeup remover. But let me show you a little tip on how to do it. So don't overdo it. Don't use too much because then it's just harder to dry and it's a little bit of overkill. So just put some on a cotton round, and then you're just going to kind of hold it. Close your eye and hold it on there for a few seconds and just let it sort of soak in and do its thing. And then you're just going to swipe gently to the outside. You don't want to tug hard. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? And then clean up anything that it might have missed. Okay. I just think that's so amazing. One little swipe and it takes off tons of makeup. Okay, so again, we're going to hold it on for a few seconds. And make sure you don't open your eye right away until you make sure you have it all dried off really well, because then it will kind of sting and be irritating. So if you need to grab a second cotton round and dry it really well, you can do that. Okay, so I think I did a pretty good job. I think I got it all. Okay, there's one spot maybe right there. I'm trying to use the dry cotton round. That's my problem. That's not going to work. I have to use the actual remover, right? And then use the dry one to just get off any excess. Okay, so eye makeup is removed. The second thing I'm going to teach you about is primer. I used to not think that primers were necessary or that they really did much, and they were just kind of a fancy, thing. But actually, they're very effective. So I've put some primer on one part of my wrist and not on the. So I put it on the lower part and not the upper part. So I just want to show you really quickly with an eyeshadow color I will be using. How that looks different, okay? And so what it does is it just makes like a really nice base for the color to cling to. And our ChromaFusion eyeshadows are very highly pigmented and they're mineral based, and so they do last a long time and they do look like a nice rich color, but the primer is going to make it stay even longer and look even more bold. So I'm going to just first do the top of my arm. Kind of fun to color on yourself, right? Can't even see what I'm doing very well. Kind of working blind here. Oh, that's a big swath. Okay, and I'm pushing really hard. Okay, and that's called Dusty Rose, if you're curious. And then I'm going to do the same thing down where I put the primer. Hopefully I can remember about where that was. I think it was about here. And see if it looks any different. Everything's backwards on my camera. This is so awkward. Okay. Okay, so I don't know if you can tell that, but I see a big difference. Look how much darker and bolder that is compared to that. Okay, and that's with a mid-tone color. With darker colors, you really notice a difference with the primer and not primer. This one's going to stay on a lot longer and look a lot truer to color. So all it takes is a little tiny dot of eye primer swiped on and let it sit. And so I'm going to do that quickly on my eyelids. I mean, teeny tiny, that's going to do both eyes. So dot, dot, and then just rub it in. Gently, anything you do with your eyes, you want to be very gentle, so kind of even more patting it than rubbing it is ideal. Okay, now that's going to take just a minute to kind of soak in really well. So we're going to let it do that while I talk about the brushes. Okay, so we're going to do a 3 eye color technique. And so I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use these 3 colors over here. And I'm going to use the one that I just demonstrated on my arm. The Dusty Rose is going to be my base or mid-tone. Okay, so it's going to be the one that's sort of in the middle of the 3 colors, and it's going to be my main color that I use on my eye. Okay, and then I'm going to use as a crease color or contour. This is called Merlot. It's like a deep red wine. And then up top, again, the backwards camera thing, oh my gosh. This is going to be my highlight, and that is called Moonstone. And you can see it has a little bit of shimmer to it. Our shades, some have shimmer, these top 2 do, and then some are matte. And it's kind of a preference thing, what you like. But all of our colors, of course, they're on my website. But if you look, wrong page, in the lookbook, this edition in the spring is on page 32. And you can see we have over 30 ChromaFusion eye colors to choose from. And the cool thing is, if you like one of our blush colors or cheek colors better than an eye color, and you think that would look really nice on my eyes, guess what? You can totally do that. You can use cheek color or contour or highlight color, anything that's ChromaFusion, that works really well together. So just know that that's an option too. So you could use any of those as eye colors along with the actual eyeshadows. And then finally, I can't not talk about our liquid eyeshadows. These are so cool. The names are cosmically inspired. There's actually 4, but I have 3 of them. My go-to is the Starlight Pink. But what's cool about this is it can also act kind of like a primer if you don't have eye primer. Just a little dot, couple dots. I'm not going to demo. And then swipe on, and it dries almost instantly, and it doesn't crease. And it's just sparkly and beautiful and a great like one color out the door kind of look. Or you can use a couple of them, or you can use them in combination with your ChromaFusion. Okay, lots of information. So as I promised, I'm going to do a technique to show you how to use 3 eyeshadow colors to do 3 different things, and then how to blend those all together. Because the number 1 tip I can give you is it's all about blending. Like you could put it on with your finger kind of sloppy and do a good job with the blending, and it's going to look great. Okay, so that's my tip for you. Blend, blend, blend to get everything to go together. But again, make sure your brushes are nice and cleaned off if you're going to change colors. Okay, have I thrown enough at you yet? So buckle up, here we go. As we're going, I'm going to kind of talk about different eye shapes and how you would do things a little bit differently, but I'm only going to demo on my eye shape, which is, as we determined, standard, about standard width apart. You can see a normal amount of, or not normal, like a clear amount of eyelid and then upper eye. Okay, so here we go. First, I'm going to use the all over brush, and it's just what it sounds like. It's the one you're going to use on all over your eyelid. Okay, I'm going to start with my base color, which is Sunlit Rose. And because I'm going to use this brush for a couple of different colors, I'm only going to put it on one side just so I don't have to clean it in between. So I'm just going to kind of tap one side of it down. Again, ChromaFusion, you don't need a lot because a little bit goes a long way, and it is such a rich color. So, and then I'm just going to try not to make a mess here. And then I'm just going to tap that base color onto my lower lid. Now that my primer has had a chance to sit, it's less this and more tapping where you want your color. It's more like you're deliberately placing your color. Okay, that's the better technique than swiping. Okay, wherever you touch first, that's going to be the darkest color, obviously. So if you have to go back and reload to kind of make it even, do that. It's a little easier in my mirror than it is in the camera, so I hope you can still see this okay. So tap, 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 tap. Even that out just a little bit, tap, tap, tap. Okay, so there's my Sunlit Rose just on the bases of my eyelids. And then, like I said, I'm going to come back with the other side and I'm going to do highlight. Now, highlight is usually used near the brow bone, like along the brow bone. It can be used in the inner corner to kind of make, just like a little accent there and draw attention to your eye, your inner eye. And it can also be used just above the iris, the colored part of your eye, to make your eye color pop. It can be used other places too, but in a standard eye, typically what you would do is, and again, this is called Sunlit Rose. It's a pretty, very pretty color. Tap some on there. I'm just going to do kind of along the brow bone, not all the way to the center, maybe more just to the outside. Okay. And then same thing on the other side. But you could go all the way across if you want to. This is really a preference thing. Just play with it. Just have fun. It's not a tattoo. It's just makeup. It can be just removed. Okay. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm not going to do the inner corners on this one. If you had close set eyes, okay, what you'd want to do is put your darker colors to the outer corner of your eyes, because it makes the person looking at you, it makes their eye draw out and appear wider. If you have wide set eyes, you're going to want to do the darker color to the inner corner to make your eyes want to draw in, okay, the person looking at you, and then it makes them look like they're closer together. So it's just sort of a trick of shadows. But in standard eyes, you can it's kind of fortunate that you can just place it wherever you want. And I'm going to do the darkest color, as you'll see in a moment, in the crease. Okay, so again, I'm going to give it a little pop of color above the iris, just that little highlight right there. Okay. All right, now let's talk about the crease. This is the part that scares people and makes them think that they don't want to use a third color because it's kind of intimidating, and I've gotten better with it. So the trick is don't start out too dark, okay? Just start out with a little bit. You can always add more. You can always layer more on the top. So I'm going to go with that Merlot, which is a really pretty color. This is the crease brush, and it's got an angle to it, and it's not very wide. So I'm just going to get it on the tip. Almost like drawing a line, okay? And with standard eyes, you can go right on the crease, okay? And I'm not going to go all the way to the inner corner. I'm going to start at maybe about 2/3 of the way across. And you can just basically draw a little line, tapping as you go. It's kind of messy, okay? And then one thing I like to do is actually bring it down in the corner a little bit. And you can see this looks messy right now, and that's okay. I like to kind of come down in that outer corner. Okay. Same technique you would use for close set eyes, except you wouldn't go quite as far as I'm starting across. Like you'd start more just in the outer corner and call it good. This is hard to do into the camera. Okay. I know that looks really dramatic and that looks really dark right now, but just wait until we blend. It makes all the difference. Okay. Now, if you had hooded eyes, what would you do? Well, if you have hooded eyes and it's kind of pulled down, you're not going to see that natural crease. So you're going to want to emphasize up above, like about halfway between your natural crease and your brow line. That's where you would be putting your contour color. Okay. All right. I'm going to use the smudger brush, which is this little guy, and it's very dense and kind of springy. And that's good for just kind of going in little circular motions and just sort of smudging out anything that's too harsh of a line to kind of soften it. So I've got some spots that got a little harsh when I was doing that highlight, or that, I can't talk, when I was doing that crease color. I'm just going to soften that up a little bit. Okay. With my smudger. Okay, so already looking better, I think, but I'm going to come back with our all over eye blending brush. I love this. And I'm just going to kind of, this is where you're just going to kind of lightly swipe, like top to bottom, or you could do bottom to top. Kind of depends which direction you're trying to emphasize. And basically just kind of really make it all pull together so it looks like it's part of one canvas instead of like 3 separate drawings or paintings, right? So it looks like it goes together. I'm going to look at my mirror for a second, so I'm sure I'm not screwing this all up. Okay, so that is the basic 3-color technique. The other thing is I'm going to use my blending brush here that I use for foundation. And if you had any fallout, meaning like little particles that settle, it's also good to maybe, one thing at a time. So now I'm going to come back with my blending brush and I'm just going to kind of sweep off any of that fallout and clean up any little areas on the outer corner or something that don't look quite right. Now, a lot of makeup artists will tell you to do your eye makeup first and then your foundation, because that way you can, or concealer or any of that, because then you can come back and actually cover up any of the fallout or any of the issues. Now, I'm putting a little eye makeup remover on a Q-tip because I noticed some spots that got a little further out than I wanted them. Okay, got a little carried away, so I'm just going to kind of clean that up a little bit with the eye makeup remover. Okay. All right. So I'm pretty happy with that. And then the other thing I want to show you is that our Chroma Fusion shades can also be used as an eyeliner. Okay. I could use an even darker, deeper shade as an eyeliner, or I can just use one of my 3 colors that I use, maybe like my mid-tone if I just want to give it a little bit of depth and a little bit of pop, or I might use the darker color if I want it to really line and be more dramatic. And to do that, I'm going to use my eyebrow brush, but I'm going to use the other side that's chiseled, and that is for eyeliner. So for our gel eyeliner, that comes with its own applicator, but this could be used for our gel eyeliner, or it can be used for this technique, which I'm going to show you. So I think I'm going to use the darker one, the Merlot, just to kind of make it stand out. So you're just going to tap it on the end. It's really not too challenging. And then I'm just going to, got too many mirrors here. I'm just going to do this in my mirror and then show you in the camera. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of tap it just under the lash line. Tap, tap, tap. Some people think that you shouldn't come all the way into the inner corner. You've probably been taught that at some point. It really, again, just kind of depends on your eye shape and your preference, really. Again, if you had close set eyes, you probably only want to line the very outer corners, or just maybe into halfway. But if you have wide set eyes, you're definitely going to want to line the inner corners. Okay, so it just really depends. I kind of go at least 3/4 of the way across, but I also sometimes like to just go all the way across. It really just depends on my look and what I'm feeling like doing. Just fun to play and try new things, right? Okay, so that looks like eyeliner and is not eyeliner, so that's pretty cool. You can also come back over the top of it with, I'm not going to do it right now for time's sake, but with our translucent powder, which is great for setting your foundation and stuff. You can also come back and just go over the top with that to kind of make it have staying power. I'm also going to do that to the upper eyelashes. I'm going to line same way, just along the lash line. It's almost like you're touching your eyelashes. Well, you are touching your eyelashes, just barely, barely above them. Okay. I really need to concentrate for a second. Sorry. I never thought in a million years that I would be doing makeup tutorials. See the skills I'm learning from this new gig? It's been really fun though. I got to attend a makeup workshop, masterclass, I guess you could call it, with Louis Casco, who, if that name sounds familiar, he did Project Runway and has become Mary Kay's #1 makeup artist designer. So he designs our new looks that come in the lookbooks and is always working with consultants and directors and doing special trainings and classes. And he's pretty amazing. And actually, I won a prize recently from my director called the Beautiful Workbook. And it has all kinds of looks that were designed by Louis Casco. And it has some pages at the end where I can create my own looks and just track what colors and stuff. So you can follow him on Facebook. He's got some great techniques. Okay, so there we go. My eyeliner. So all I'm going to need to do is come back in and do some mascara, and then my eyes will be finished. So I hope that was helpful. Just have fun playing. This is definitely more of a dramatic look than I would use for just going out for the day. I'd probably just swipe on some liquid shadow or something and a little mascara and call it good. But sometimes you want to just get a little dressed up or you have a special occasion, and so it can be kind of fun to play. So have fun with that. Thanks for watching.